Hi, welcome to the Silly Little Giggles podcast. I'm your host, Jupiter, and this is my co-host, David Tennant. And today I have with me...
Jayce.
So, how do you think that the recent theater show went?
I think it went really well. It's my first show, at this school. So, I didn't really know what to expect, but I think it went really well, and I had a lot of fun.
So, did you do theater at any of your old schools?
Oh, yeah, I've been doing theater since, the 6th grade. It's, one of the most prominent kind of things that I do, I think.
So, what were the parts that you played in this recent show?
I was supposed to be the dog. I only got to be the dog for one of the shows. The lion and the miller.
Okay. So, why did you only get to be the dog for one of the shows?
During one of the shows, I was running off stage for part of my blocking, and I fell and sprained my ankle. And so, since the role had, a lot of running, I wasn't able to, do it anymore. Yeah.
So, do you want to kind of, shout out who took over that role for you?
Jordan Curley got to be the dog for the remaining shows, so.
A real one.
They did great. They learned the stuff in, a day. They learned, all of the blocking and the, dialogue and the lines and everything in a day. It was really impressive.
So, how can you kind of describe how you guys put together the shows?
Well, we spend a lot of time. I think it was over a couple months. We spend a lot of time in one of the extra rooms Miss Robbins has, and we just kind of run the show just a whole bunch. And we Miss Robbins just kind of tells us what to do, when to do it for the blocking and stuff. And then we have 2-3 days to put it all together at the Palace Theater, which is where we do the shows. And it's really difficult because a lot of it is just hey, run into the audience, but you don't have an audience in a room of totes.
So how do you guys do you guys write the scripts for the show?
Sometimes. I think she picks student scripts sometimes, but this past show wasn't a student script. It was something she had done. She's done it before in 2008, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've heard her sometimes she pulls out scripts that students have written, and she lets them help run create those shows, which I've heard they've been pretty good too.
So how do you guys kind of decide who gets what part?
We do the audition process, which I think for this show it was we did one group audition where everybody shows and we all just kind of read and get familiar with the roles that are available.
Mm-hmm.
And then we do individual auditions where we throw out an idea to Miss Robbins and we tell her, we're hey, this is the role that I would like to be considered for, and then she has a couple characters that she picks out that we read for, and then from there it's all kind of up to her free will.
So, what did you kind of do while Jordan was the dog?
I cried a little bit. I watched backstage. They have this little TV thing that we use, and we just kind of I would watch them, and I was just so impressed with how they did. But most of the time, I was getting ready for the lion and watching them perform.
Yeah. So, would you say it's difficult to be playing 3 parts in the same show?
I certainly had it a little bit easier than some of the other people because some other people had these really quick changes. They only had between scenes to change clothes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I had scenes in between my roles to change clothes and get into different costumes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel it definitely could have been worse, but it was a little bit challenging because it was my first time being put in a position of going through a couple of different roles and stuff, and they were all very different characters. They weren't similar characters, so I liked the diversity in the characters, but it was certainly a challenge that I had to get used to.
I was really excited when I saw you up there. I was like, OMG. And then everybody it was me and my friend beside me, Rune, was did they just fall? Just looks at me, did they just fall? I was I think so.
A lot of people thought that was just part of the bit. I asked one of the people that were in the front row, and I was you saw that, right? And they were yeah, I thought that was part of the bit. It was not. I went up to my parents afterwards, and I was I think I need to go to the hospital.
I am hurting and in pain.
I am in pain. Please.
I think it's really impressive that you like just continued to like go on after that.
Oh yeah, it was hard. I think that was pure adrenaline. I don't think I could have done it in any other way other than just pure adrenaline. So
I was like sitting there like the day after when you had told me that you sprained your ankle, and I was like, wow, like he just went through all of that again.
yeah,
like,
it was rough, but we did it.
did it.
Barely, but
So, you know, I guess what is it like? Like, how do you guys kind of decide what show you're gonna do? I guess.
most of that is up to Miss Robbins. Of course, some of us try to like drop hints and like drop ideas for her, but most of the time it's just her going through and picking like what she wants to do and how. I'm not super familiar with it because it's my first year here, but
yeah. So, you know, I guess since it's your first year here, does it kind of feel different being a senior in theater?
It definitely does. At my old school, seniors were kind of really glorified in the theater world and stuff, which here we have seniority, but it's also like, I like how it's more based on talent rather than seniority here.
Yeah.
My old school was kind of like one of those money schools or whatever,
Oh.
and it was all about who was older and who had more money. So it was just kind of like, it took the fun out of it, but I came here and it was like a whole new breath of fresh air because it was like I was given an opportunity that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
Yeah, I think that's one of the perks, I think, of the school is, like, just, I feel like everybody's on mainly, like, equal footing when it comes to stuff like that, like extracurricular activities and stuff. But, yeah, thank you for talking with me.
You're welcome.
This has been Silly Little Giggles. I've been your host, Jupiter, and this has been your co-host, David Tennant. And we'll see you next time.